All right, we are here at the doctor's office today for Allison's HSG. They're gonna look at her uterus and fallopian tubes, so that's what we're here for. And she's been nervous all week, haven't you, Allison?
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling?
I'm scared because it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. People say that it's either like light cramps or like terrible, awful pain, and it just depends on who you are. So maybe it'll just be like cramps.
Totally.
Hopefully. We'll see.
All right. Well, guys, we'll post how she did afterwards.
Hi, it's us again.
Hey guys.
Last Tuesday we went and got my HSG done, and it went a lot better than I think either of us had expected it to.
Yeah, she was super nervous, as you can tell. So, a lot of hand holding, a lot of just being there to support, So it was good though.
I'm just gonna kind of walk you through the process of what all we did from when we got there to when we left. When we got there, they took a urine sample so that they can make sure I was not pregnant, since it does use X-ray. And then they had me lay flat on my back on the X-ray table. And the tools that they used were I had a speculum, just like when you're getting a pap smear. It was different because I was lying flat on my back, which was really uncomfortable actually. A lot of people I had read online, they said, that part's not bad, but to me that was probably the most uncomfortable part. And it was just a lot of pressure. Not necessarily painful, but just a lot of pressure. Then they inserted a catheter. 4 catheters later, mine stayed. And
Yes.
they were having difficulties getting it to stay in and inject the dye properly at the same time. They couldn't get it to do both.
Yeah, so she started out with just a catheter that she was using clamp to try to pull the cervix down and keep that catheter in the cervix and the uterus. She said that was just to create a clearer picture, because when she moved to the balloon catheter, it created kind of a blur in the uterus. But she said she couldn't get the first catheter to stay, so then she switched over to the balloon catheter, and that worked.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Like I said, wasn't super painful, was not what I'd expected at all. She kept saying, "Oh, you're being such a good sport. Oh, I'm surprised you're not crying. Well, you're doing a great job, but I didn't find it to be a painful experience. Very uncomfortable and a lot of pressure. Kind of like the feeling when you have to pee super bad. That I kept asking her, "Am I going to pee on you? Am I going to pee?" And so I spent most of the time either holding Skylar's hand or talking to the nurse about carrots. So it was totally normal. The dye did go into my left side easily. Was it my left side it went into first?
Yeah.
Went into my left side
was
easy.
Perfect.
The right side took a little longer, but it did go in and it did flow over, so everything was exactly what she'd hoped for. Other than that, as she was looking at the scan, she thought that I had a polyp in my uterus. She was going between, is that a polyp or is that just part of the balloon catheter? And since she didn't have to use the balloon catheter, it was a little more iffy as to what she was looking at. So we went to do an ultrasound. When we got to the ultrasound, she checked, and she was pretty sure after looking at that it was just a bend in the uterus, but to be certain she did go ahead and inject saline as well on top of the dye. So with the saline, that just kind of inflates the uterus, and she could tell then that it was just a bend. There's no polyps, so no surgery. That's good news. She said I have a beautiful uterus, so that's my new thing, is that my uterus is beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful uterus.
So yeah, she's really good about that. She explained absolutely every step of it to us. Sometimes a little too much for me, just because I get nauseous pretty easy. And so knowing what was happening at times, I was like, "Whoa, okay, getting hot here." But I didn't pass out, so that's good news. And I do like that she explains every step. I feel like previous doctors maybe haven't been as good about that for us, that they just say, "All right, you're good," but don't really explain the process or what they've found or what they were looking for even. So it was good to know that everything came out pretty clear. I mean, obviously I'm not golden. I still have PCOS. She did not see much scarring, which is awesome. So the endometriosis is hopefully under control.
Yeah. No, and we're super optimistic, and she is too, and I think that's kind of rubbing off from her. She's been super optimistic and positive along this whole journey, so it's been good to actually see a doctor and be able to come out of the appointment with a little better attitude, because this is it's a hard thing to deal with on a daily basis, so it's good to have a doctor in your corner.
And it's good that while she's optimistic, I don't feel that she's like feeding us crap. I feel that she's optimistic about the things that she can be and realistic about the things that maybe aren't quite going as she would hoped.
Definitely.
So it's nice. I don't want someone who's just going to tell me like, oh yeah, this is going great, if it's not. But at the same time, I don't want someone who basically tells us we're doomed every month.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that happy medium of someone who points out the positives and makes plans for the negatives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's next? They couldn't get me scheduled last week. We were supposed to do Allison's HSG and my semen analysis on the same day, just because we live 2.5 hours away from Omaha. So it would have worked out great if we could have done that, but it's okay. It's part of the journey. So I go in on Thursday to get a semen analysis, and that's pretty much all that's going on that day. She will look at sperm count, how long they live. She's going to do a 24-hour test, see how many live throughout one whole day. She'll do motility and morphology tests to make sure that the sperm actually have tails and they're moving around and moving enough to be able to fertilize an egg. And so pretty much this is the semen analysis is going to determine if we do another couple. She said we could probably do 2 or 3 more IUIs if the semen analysis was good, if there was a good count and all the other stuff. But if not, if there's a low sperm count, then we will go to IVF. So
another reason why it's important to know how long they live is with an IUI, they have given me drugs to make me create eggs. They've also given me a shot to help me ovulate my eggs. Sometimes I've ovulated up to 2 or 3. Above that, they cancel the cycle. But if I ovulate and they inject the sperm with an IUI and the sperm aren't living very long, then there's still a very low chance of it actually fertilizing the egg. So that's kind of what she's most concerned about, is how long they're living.
Yep.
Just because Skylar's had a semen analysis done before, we know the count, the motility, the morphology, all of that. It's just that they didn't check to see how long they actually live. And so we're hoping that, given that the other things are similar to his previous semen analysis, that the how long they live part will kind of determine what our next step is. Another difference is that if we do another IUI, we'll be using Femara this time instead of the Clomid. So no more crazy drugs. I've read up on Femara. It seems to have a lot less side effects. It also, for a lot of girls with PCOS, is more effective and creates that better atmosphere in the uterus for implantation. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and something that she really explained to us that was really good was that sometimes Clomid can create what she'd say hostile uterus, which is probably not the best type of uterus.
She said that with Femara, you're more likely to have the lining of your uterus as thick as it needs to be, whereas Clomid a lot of times can thin that lining, and with a thin lining of your uterus, the eggs don't have anywhere to implant to. So
yeah.
And we did have problems with that with the Clomid. They put me on additional drugs to help thicken my uterine lining, which did work. But I would rather be on one med that's going to give us that atmosphere that we need.
Take care of both aspects.
Yeah. And to hopefully have less of the hot flashes and mood swings and emotions that are associated with Clomid.
Definitely. But next week isn't going to be much news, so we'll probably won't have another video next week. So probably.
I'll go to the semen analysis on Thursday, and then 5 or 6 days later, we'll be able to hopefully make our plan of action on what we're doing. So then we will update you.
Yeah, we'll update after we figure out what is gonna be the next step. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Another thing that we love about our office is that they're very upfront about the costs of things. That's part of our plan of action, is that we know upfront what each drug will cost, what our insurance will cover diagnostically, what our insurance won't touch, which is most of it. Something most people don't understand is that if you struggle with infertility, your insurance does not want to get you pregnant. They basically see infertility as a good thing almost, because as an insurance company, if you're infertile, then you're not having babies, and they don't have to pay for your pregnancies and for your childbirth. So that's not really a problem that they would like to fix. So they do cover some of the diagnostic stuff. So my last visit, they will cover most, if not all of. After this, though, we're pretty much on our own. So it's awesome that our office is upfront about, hey, this is how much this med costs, or hey, this is how much this procedure costs, as well as that there's a pharmacy in the city that we're doing our treatment in, and they do low-cost fertility drugs, and we've ordered through them previously for my trigger shots. And so a shot that would normally be $500, $600, they do for $120. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's still $120 to get a shot in your butt, but it's a lot better than paying the $5 or $6.
Definitely.
So we feel like we have people in our corner. We feel hopeful. We're really hoping that 2017 is our year. So.